September 2019. Elements of the LGBTQ+ and transgender movement began coalescing around the Antifa terror organization in violence in the Tacoma suicide bomber attack and Boston Straight Pride March in late summer 2019. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez promoted a fundraiser for the Antifa terrorist organization 215. The Antifa terrorist organization coalesced with elements of the LGBTQ+ movement in Labor Day weekend violence against citizens marching in the Boston Straight Pride Parade. Several police officers were injured in the Boston melee. Bucknell University to host Antifa leader who promotes political violence 216. A van filled with 1,000 gallons of gasoline was found in a downtown Baltimore parking structure ahead of President Trump's visit to the city 217. A Union County, North Carolina high school teacher was placed on administrative leave and is under investigation by the Secret Service after she told her students that Vice President Mike Pence should be shot in the head, while Pence was visiting in the vicinity 218, 219, 220, 221. Abram Goldman Armstrong, the owner of an Antifa-friendly bar in Portland, Oregon, came under investigation by Oregon Liquor Control Commission regulators who revealed, following multiple customer complaints, that he allowed Antifa members who patronized the bar to physically attack conservatives and use illegal weapons against them, as well as refusing to remove unruly Antifa troublemakers from the bar and lying to authorities about incidents involving Antifa at the bar, which were contradicted by video evidence 222. The OLCC has recommended the filing of multiple charges against Goldman Armstrong and his staff for the incidents and their hand in provoking them. A man drove his car into lobby of Trump Plaza, New Rochelle, New York, injuring 3 people 223. On Climate Strike Day 224, a man drove his car into a bastion of capitalism at a Chicago suburban mall 225. 50 Antifa goons attack ICE facility in Portland during climate strike rally and are arrested 226. An elderly couple was accosted at a Maxime Bernier campaign event in Canada by Antifa thugs childishly shouting, "Nazi scum! Off our streets! Nazi scum! Off our streets," while the thugs ironically behaved like Nazis themselves 227. At least 9 illegal aliens were charged in a series of rapes in the D.C. suburb of Montgomery County, Maryland 228. The county council remained unresponsive to public outrage over its sanctuary city status 229. October 2019. 2019 Minneapolis riots. 230 Democrat presidential contender Amy Klobuchar called it, "the Democrats' fired-up base." 231-232. The communist regime in China shot a pro-democracy protester in Hong Kong on the 70th anniversary of the regime seizing power in China 233. Leftist climate activist group Extinction Rebellion attempted to vandalize the British Treasury building in London by spraying the building with fake blood, only to immediately lose control of the hose in their incompetence and instead spray the nearby sidewalk and road, as well as several bystanders. 234. 4 of the Extinction Rebellion protesters were arrested by London police for vandalism. Antifa thug David Campbell was sentenced to 18 months in prison after pleading guilty to 2 counts of felony assault for brutally assaulting a Trump supporter at a January 2018 event in Manhattan celebrating the first anniversary of Trump's inauguration. 235. A group of anti-Kavanaugh protesters stalked Mitch McConnell's home in one protest while another protest group illegally blocked traffic in the area around the Supreme Court building in Washington, D.C. in a separate but related protest. 236. Leftist protesters disrupted acting Homeland Security Secretary Kevin McCaley while he was supposed to speak at a conference on immigration Monday morning. McCaley was asked to give the keynote address at Georgetown Law's 16th Annual Immigration Law and Policy Conference but could not because protesters acted up and interrupted him several times, refusing to let him speak. 237. The protesters' actions in shutting down speech they did not like earned them a rebuke from angered members of the audience in attendance who came to hear McCaley's speech. Leftist student protester Kevin Edsall was arrested and charged with property destruction and disturbing the peace several days after targeting conservative group Turning Point USA on campus during a promotional event at University of Nevada, Reno. 238. Edsall was caught on camera shouting vulgarity at several TPUSA members and overturning their table before he cowardly ran away. Seattle suffers from street crime committed by drug-addicted homeless vagrants, which Democrat City Attorney Pete Holmes refuses to deal with. 239. Video of hundreds of handcuffed, blindfolded prisoners in left-wing socialist China. 240. Trump supporters were violently attacked by DFlers outside of a Donald Trump rally at the Target Center in Minneapolis. 241. It was later revealed that, thanks to the use of facial recognition software to identify them, Ilhan Omar and her boyfriend Tim Minot, both hiding their faces with masks, were identified among those in the crowd involved in the anti-Trump riot outside the arena. 242. Antifa assaults woman in unprovoked attack after Trump Minneapolis rally. 243. In Portland, Rose City Antifa chanted, "All cops are BS," as they vandalized Oregon's Democrat Party headquarters. 244. Democrats plan mass civil unrest to overthrow Trump. 245. A Swedish MP opposed to mass migration stated he might have to move after his car was vandalized for the second time in a year. 246. King County, Washington authorities ignored detainer on illegal alien accused of bashing teenager's head and dismembering his body. 247. A teenager who was brutally murdered and then chopped into pieces, allegedly by a suspected MS-13 gang member, could still be alive today if local authorities had honored an ICE detainer. Theaters and churches in the United States and Canada that planned to show the film The Rise of Jordan Peterson were victimized by illegal censorship when they were forced to drop the film after receiving criminal threats from anonymous leftist cowards, who falsely accused the film of promoting fascism and implied intent to target, most likely with violence, any venue showing the film. 248. The Cato Institute found that nearly half of socialists believed that violence against wealthy individuals can be acceptable. 249. Brain-dead protesters from Extinction Rebellion attempted to delay a passenger train from moving at a protest in London by climbing on top of the train in defiance and violation of safety protocols, while another reality-detached protester actually glued herself to the train. 250. The protesters quickly paid for their stupidity and their dangerous stunts when they were pulled off the train and beaten down by angry train passengers who were enraged over being delayed from getting to their jobs. By the train holdup, followed by two of the protesters getting arrested by police for their stunts. Senator Rand Paul and his deputy chief of staff were verbally assaulted by two unhinged leftists from New York in a California restaurant. 251. Barbra Streisand shared a picture of Nancy Pelosi killing President Trump. 252. The clothing company Thunny released a billboard campaign depicting President Trump hogtied outside the White House. 253. One of the offending ads showed up on a billboard in New York City's Times Square. 254. Anti-Trump and anti-Semitic leftist Chase Colasurdo received a 5-year prison sentence for making multiple threats against President Trump and his family, as well as threatening to bomb synagogues and attack media figures. 255. Florida leftist Matthias Agpel was arrested after he spat on an elderly Trump supporter, slapped his MAGA hat and vulgarly and falsely accused him of being a communist before cowardly fleeing the scene. 256. After he was caught and arrested, Agpel defiantly stated that he didn't even care if he went to jail over the incident while continuing to falsely claim that Trump supporters are communist and racist, clearly ignoring that it is anti-Trump leftists who are actually communist and racist themselves. A left-wing professor at Pacific Lutheran University said in a newspaper interview that he had no problem with Antifa violence. 257. November 2019. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison with Luis Enrique Marquez, a notorious leader of the Portland Antifa. 258. Antifa protester Jamal Oscar Williams was arrested and charged with a hate crime he committed in Seattle when he made anti-Semitic slurs against two Jewish men and threatened to kill them in multiple incidents. 259.